Girls like robots. Allegedly. Is there any truth to that statement? I suppose it depends on the girl. But that'd be thinking too much, and Girls Like Robots does not like to think too much about these existential questions that truly matter. Instead, it's merely content in being one of those matching tile puzzle game things for your mobile device, and not much has changed in the transition to the PC master race. Well, that's not entirely accurate, is it? Originally debuting as an iPhone game in 2012 before making its way over to PC in 2013, and then 2 years later it got an exclusive console release for the Wii U. Yes, the Wii U apparently was the only console worthy of this mobile masterpiece, probably because it was the only console of that generation with a touchpad device. Honestly, I'm surprised nobody at Pop Cannibal, the developers of this game, bothered porting this over to Switch once that became a thing. And apparently they're still around today if the website is anything to go by, so I don't know, maybe Switch 2? Bring it back? Just a thought? Anyway, this near decade-and-a-half old game that originally graced your mobile devices, Girls Love Robots, is less about matching tiles and more about pairing tiles with other tiles that they'll like, which will no doubt make the paired tiles happy. The happier your tiles are in a puzzle, the higher your score, and the better metal blocks you win, which is the equivalent of your star ratings that usually associate with these sort of mobile device things. The general idea is to arrange the tiles in a way that you'll achieve a margin of happiness that will be enough to get you to the next level. Of course, you can attempt to achieve the maximum level of happiness with a few tactical tile placements, which naturally ranks you higher in terms of performance, which is generally the main point of these mobile things in the first place. The key thing with this game is knowing how different tiles react to each other. Naturally, girls like robots, that's the dead giveaway. But there are also nerd tiles and cow tiles and eventually other tiles that have different relationships or possibly no relationship with other tiles. So you have to manage these tiles in a way that achieves your bare minimum of happiness if that's all you want to go for, in order to move the paper-thin story forward. Yes, there's a bit of an ongoing narrative in Girls Love Robots, and along the way new tiles are introduced in the mix, and the game does give you a heads up on how these tiles will react to other tiles, so you're not completely in the dark when it comes to new obstacles introduced to the game, and I feel that sort of accessibility is important in regards to these casual games that are more pick up and play type of deals for short bursts of fun, such as it is. The game has controller support, but why would you do something stupid like that? You use a mouse. You click on things, you drag them around the playfield, you place them where you want them to be depending on the stage and the context. That's the best way, nay, the only way you should be playing this on a PC is with a mouse. After all, this was originally made for phones and things where you moved things with your fingers on a pane of glass, for crying out loud. And now you want to use a gamepad on this? Of all things, this. Oh, piss off with that noise, get out of here. And yeah, context is everything because not every stage plays by the same rules. Sometimes you gotta make people happy. Other times you have to make them sad. And then few times you need to deflect bugs or go down a path or whatever the case may be. It varies from round to round and sometimes the solution is not always apparent. But with 3 acts, roughly 10 stages apiece and a number of rounds contained within, the one thing you can say about Girls Like Robots is that it's not afraid to change things up a bit and give you different types of platform that isn't the usual fare. What doesn't change is that the better you perform in these rounds, the more medals you earn, and once you accumulate enough medals, you could start unlocking some bonus games that you could play to try for a high score on an online leaderboard somewhere. Some of these games are even suited for controller play, you sickos you. Now obviously Girls Like Robots is not a graphically intensive game. It's square faces on a bunch of tiles with some background art for whatever scenario is taking place during that act of the paper-thin plot. But the game does sport a rather clean and colorful art style that boasts a bit of charm, especially in the cutscenes where you're watching these tiles live their lives and do stuff. And there's even a nifty customization feature that lets you change around the look of these tiles. It's not deep or anything, but it's a novelty. It's a nice thing to play around with if you feel like it. Audio is also fairly simplistic. Some mild vocal bits to depict the emotional state of these tiles whenever they're played, nothing too drastic, and there's also some old-timey banjo music in the background, probably stock tracks. It fills the audible void, I guess. I suppose. Meh. Overall, Girls Like Robots is a perfectly competent tile-based puzzle game that mixes things up a bit every so often as to not feel a bit stale, but like many games originally made for tablet things that you play with your fingers, is best played for short bursts when you've got nothing better to do. It's a good time waster if that's all you're looking for, but on the other hand, you've got plenty of other offerings on PC especially that could do that and then some. And some of them don't even cost a dime. Still, I enjoyed this one while it lasted, so yes, Girls Like Robots can have a cookie and a pat on the head. It's just fine.